Okay, welcome for those who have joined us so far. We'll just give it a few more seconds to allow for everybody else to join us. People are joining in, so that's really good. Just a few more seconds and we'll get started. Okay, welcome to the information session for the Certificate of Higher Education in Pre-Medical Studies. Before I start, please let me tell you that this session is being recorded and will be shared on our YouTube channel later on today. It will also be sent to all those who register for the event. My name is Vanessa Chiliemi, and I am Head of Academic Centre Administration at the Institute of Continuing Education at the University of Cambridge, also known as ICE. Today in the panel, we have Dr. Tina Sali, Course Director for the program, Roberto Russo, Course Admin Coordinator, Gemma Crawford, our current student in the program, and we're being supported by colleagues from the enrollments and marketing teams. Next slide, please. Lovely. So this week, we are running a number of online sessions, as you can see on your slide, to give you the opportunity to find out more about our STEM portfolio at ICE. Course information sessions like this one, covering each course in our STEM portfolio, will be taking place at 6:30 p.m. most evenings. In addition to our live sessions, we also have additional video resources on our website, giving you further information on various funding options, the application process, student support, and interview preparation. If you missed any of our sessions or are unavailable to attend, then you can watch the recordings, which will be available online. Links to events and resources are shared in the chat and will also be sent via email after the session. Next slide, please. Okay, let me tell you a bit about ICE. ICE was established just over 150 years ago in 1873, and we were the first university-led continuing education provider in the world. Today, we offer a wide range of courses to adult learners, including short online and residential courses, international summer programs, and part-time undergraduate and postgraduate qualifications, covering a number of subject areas from archaeology to genomic medicine. ICE is a place where professional networks are formed, friendships are made, and the transformative power of learning is recognized. Next slide, please. Okay, in today's session, we will take you through what you can expect from the Certificate of Higher Education in Pre-Medical Studies, including entry requirements, teaching style, module content, and assessment. You will then hear from one of our current students in the course, and at the end of the presentation, our enrollment team will take you through what kind of support we can provide during your application, and we will also discuss the various bursaries available. We have time reserved at the end of the session to answer your questions, so please do send us your questions via the Q&A box at the bottom of the screen, just here, so we'll be picking those up at the end of the session. Next slide, please. Great, thank you. So course introduction. The Certificate of Higher Education in Pre-Medical Studies is a full-time, flexible course, and it mirrors the intensity of medical school. It still allows you to fit your studies around everyday life. Sorry, apologies for that. This course is delivered through a mixture of online and in-person activities, such as live workshops, pre-recorded lectures, recommended readings, and a variety of tasks and assignments, such as essays, presentations, exams, and all this to consolidate your learning. You will also develop essential practical skills through a practical lab program. As you can see on the slide, the course is delivering 2 teaching blocks of 15 weeks plus exam weeks. The first teaching block next year will be from the 8th of September 2025 until the 30th of January 2026. And the second teaching block will start from the 2nd of February and will end on the 3rd of July. You will also attend 2 days. It's important that you understand that you will attend 2 days of in-person face-to-face teaching every month, which will take place at a university venue in Cambridge. The current cohort, we are delivering those sessions at the Faculty of Education, but we're still trying to establish where we will deliver the sessions next year. I will now hand you over to my colleague, Dr. Tina Sali, Course Director for the Certificate of Higher Education in Pre-Medical Studies, and she'll be able to tell you more about the course content. Thank you very much. Over to you, Tina.
Thank you so much, Vanessa. Great to have you all here. So in this part of the presentation, I would like to talk more about the course itself. So this program is designed to be a full-time study course. And should you be successful in completing the course, you will receive 120 credits, which is at level 4 of your study, which is pretty much the same as first-year undergraduate program. Now, we thought very carefully about the best way to deliver this teaching to students that have been in our program. And we are very much aware of the flexibility that the mature students need. Therefore, we decided to deliver the program in a manner that would allow most of the teaching to be delivered asynchronously manner online, so students can access it anywhere at any time. So this online teaching, essentially that involves pre-recorded lectures, will also be accompanied by the live Zoom sessions that we have with students that occur 3 days a week, but also accompanied by, as what Vanessa mentioned earlier on, in-person teaching in Cambridge. So there will be 2 days for in-person teaching every month that will occur at the Faculty of Education in Cambridge. With regards to the face-to-face teaching in Cambridge, we focus on some theoretical and also group work elements that will enable us to bring some laboratory skills, which is fundamental part of the program and also is a fundamental part of your training as you prepare to go to the medical school. Overall, we've grouped the program into 6 main modules based on the key source of knowledge and skills that a medical school is looking for and that medical schools would expect students to have. Next slide, please. Essentially, we have 6 different modules, as mentioned, starting from the very first module, cells and tissues. So we've split them in biology 1, chemistry 1, pre-medical 1. Biology 1 is cells and tissues. Chemistry 1 is titled Fundamental of Chemistry and Biochemistry. Pre-medical 1 is research, academic, and interpersonal skills. So this is where we focus on mainly on term 1, which is from September until December. And then we have biology 2, which is essentially anatomy, where we focus on organs and organ systems. Then we go a little bit in more deep depth in chemistry in term 2, where we focus mainly on intermediate chemistry and biochemistry. And ultimately, for the pre-medical studies, we focus on health, psychology, and sociology. So the way that the program was designed was very much focused on the A-level curriculum, which is very relevant to the medical study. And we have inserted the A-level curriculum in biology and chemistry, essentially in the pre-medical studies. This is because we want to ensure that the students have the foundation that they would need to gain in order to apply to medical school and in order to have A-level biology and chemistry. So in addition to that, we go a little bit more in depth in biology, and where we focus also on cutting-edge research, some of the key things that were happening in the science, but also we make it more exciting for the students, and we connect the biology, chemistry, and the pre-medical studies with the relative knowledge that they would need to go to enter the medical school. For example, sometimes in biology, where we discuss anatomy, we have case studies relevant to the different medical conditions, and that is matched to the lecture that the student have previously learned. We also have pre-medical studies, which is a great way for students to understand what is medicine and what do medical doctors do. Essentially, in the first part of our term 1, we have sometimes invited speakers, and these are doctors of different specialties or healthcare professionals, where they talk a little bit what it is to become a doctor, what their life is like, what they focus on, what are the key skills that the medical doctors have, and so on. So this is also a good way for you to learn about what the real life in the medical setting is like. Next slide, please. It is important to be upfront, and so studying for the certificate in pre-medical studies will be an intense and demanding full-time course. So it's not a program that will require to sign up occasionally and come up with a qualification in the end, but it will require you to be fully engaged throughout the course of the program. And we will be doing our best to try and maximize your ability to engage so you can have a more positive experience once you are in the program. However, as previously mentioned, most of the material will be delivered as asynchronous manner and will be online for you to access. And we will do this through our own virtual learning environment as well. So this will allow you to log on and watch the pre-recorded materials and to engage with the group activities, as well as to follow some exercises and readings that are set for you based on the lectures that you're going to learn. This will also provide a framework for you to network with each other, where you can exchange ideas, where you can have conversations with one another, as well as support each other throughout your learning in this program. When we do in-person teaching, as mentioned at the Faculty of Education in Cambridge, we will make sure that we will have some group activities where you can engage together with one another, and also to mimic a little bit of what medical schools are requiring for in the applicants. It's very important to mention that studying for this program again is difficult, but it's doable if you have a passion for medical studies, biology and chemistry. Both biology and chemistry are 100% exam, which means that you'll need to know and study hard for you to get a good grade. And pre-medical studies, on the other hand, is 100% coursework, where you will essentially have 3 main assessments that you will do throughout the year. Before the summative assessments, you also have a formative assessment. These are assessments where that are not marked, so they are you won't have a grade for the formative assessment, but it will be a good way for us to provide feedback for you and to provide support and do our best to support you in areas that you need most. For biology and chemistry, you will have multiple sessions during live sessions where we will do exam-like questions. So we will start revision very earlier on. That will give the students a very good background and knowledge of how to prepare for the exams, what are the expectations, what we are looking for, how students should answer the question, and so on. So we've done this very thoroughly, and we try to do this since the very beginning of the term so that the students know how to study and how to best perform. Next slide, please. For those of you who decide that the certificate in pre-medical studies course is the right course for you, and for those of you who would like to continue on a medical career, following the completion of this certificate in pre-medical studies, you will be, many of our students apply to medical schools. We have ongoing collaborations with University of East Anglia in Norwich and Anglia Ruskin University in Chelmsford. So the certificate in pre-medical studies is recognized by UEA or ARU and also University of Cambridge. However, it's very important to state that each university has its own application process and criteria. For example, some universities will require you to take UCAT. So for them to invite you in an interview, you would also need to have a high UCAT score. For University of Cambridge, for example, several colleges will require also to have an A star in chemistry, and this is a criteria that they need. But for UEA and ARU, A levels are not typically required, so pre-medical studies should be more than enough for you to have. However, as I mentioned before, it's very important to also do your own research to make sure that you have a good research at the universities that you are applying. We've had students from the past years and this year who also have applied to other universities. So not only University of East Anglia or ARU, which we collaborate with, but other universities. And they've been successful in their university application. But again, this is something that you need to search on and make sure that you know the criteria and guidance. The expected mark in the certificate of higher education in order to meet an offer of medical school are to get 75 to 75% in the pre-medical studies. So this is the score that we expect students to have overall for them to apply to the medical schools. However, it's also important to state that this percentage may also differ between universities. No offer is guaranteed, so we cannot offer you a place to a medical school, even if grades are met. I'm sure you appreciate how competitive the medical schools are, but we can say that we will fully support you at the best of our ability to make sure that you are successful. The next slide, please. So the applications for the pre-medical studies can be done via ICE website. Here is the link where you can go and learn more about the course and submit your application. The application deadline is the 21st May 2025, which is a Wednesday. We typically shortlist candidates. We look at their personal statements, we look at their applications, and then we will shortlist them based on their academic ability, but especially based on their experience. And we will interview them either in Cambridge, in person, or via Zoom. So it's very important when you submit an application for you to state why do you want to apply to pre-medical studies, whether you have any past experience in healthcare, whether this is caring for somebody, or maybe some of you might have some experience in hospitals. These experiences are very, very important for you to state in the application, because it shows that you have had an interest or you have an interest in the medical area. Next slide, please. There is no formal academic entry for applying to pre-medical studies. So you don't have to have A-levels. The whole idea of pre-medical studies, in fact, was to support students who don't have A-levels. So the idea was that pre-medical studies will act as a substitute for those who don't have A-levels and who want to apply to medical school. However, it's very important to know that medical schools require students to have at least 6 GCSEs, which are a grade B or above. And out of these 6 GCSEs, you need to have a B in English language, mathematics, and equivalent of 2 sciences. Preference in the admission process for the certificate in higher education will be given to the applicants who have already these qualifications, who already have these 6 GCSEs at grade B or above, and also who express an intention to go to medical school and show us some experiences that they have. Students should not currently be studying level 3 qualification or should not be a recent school leaver, because the program is mainly for the mature students. Next slide, please. And I would like, in my next slide, I would like to introduce our amazing student, Gemma Crawford. Gemma is one of our best students in pre-medical studies. She's currently studying Certificate of Higher Education Pre-Medical Studies. She's been excellent so far, and we're very proud to have her here. And she's going to give you a little bit an introduction about her experience with us, studying with us. And I'll leave it to you, Gemma, to present yourself and tell more a little bit about pre-medical studies.
Thank you so much. So hi, everyone. I'm Gemma, and I am a current student on pre-medical studies. And essentially, I want to be a doctor. So I am using this course to apply to medical school. And in fact, I currently have 2 interviews. So one at UEA and one at University of Bristol. I have one offer to start biomedical science at Anglia Ruskin starting from year 2. So I don't have to start from year 1, I can start from year 2. And I'm currently waiting to hear back from another university as well, which is King's in London. But I just want to point out as well that there are other people on the course who have used it to apply for different degrees. So not necessarily medicine. So for example, pharmacy and forensic science. Somebody got an offer for forensic science as well. So I guess I wanted to discuss as well how I decided to do this course and what my path was leading up to this. So I was originally studying for a degree. I was studying remote using I guess I won't name it, but you can probably think of the biggest university that's conducted just online. So I was studying there, and my plan was to get a degree and then apply for graduate entry medicine. But then when I looked into it more, I realized that undergraduate medicine to apply for med school is a much more realistic prospect for me. First of all, it's less competitive, and I would also be able to do it. It's less intense, so I would be able to do it in my circumstances. So for example, me, I have a daughter, a little girl. So I thought it's more realistic that I spread it over 5 years. So that's something to consider. And how I actually decided on this course was I had a friend who had gone to the University of Cambridge, and we'd lost touch for all these years, but then she actually we got back in touch, and she really recommended the whole Cambridge experience. She really said it was like foundational to her. So I decided I also wanted to do that, and I would go for it. And here I am. So I just wanted to highlight some positives that I've gotten so far. So right now I'm about halfway through the course. My cohort is the second cohort. The biggest advantage I would say is the people that you meet. And I know that sounds strange because, you'd think the biggest thing would be that, this course has given me someone who doesn't have any science A levels. It has given me an interview to medical school, 2 interviews so far to medical school, which is incredible when you think about it, like no A levels, and yet here I am. But anyway, I still think the biggest advantage is just the people I've met, just because the people are just genuinely interesting people. Some of the wildest stories, craziest jobs, life experiences, and I just see so many of them will become great doctors, and to me that's just so motivational. And yeah, I think because med school and the pre-med journey is so hard, I think you really have to, when you're deciding what to do, if this course is right for you, you really have to weigh up the fact that you can't put a price on that, the sort of people that you'll be with. Just sort of to compare it, I know this is just, I guess, anecdotal, but I have another friend who's pursuing medicine at a college, doing an access course, and the class that she's in, they're so much younger, they're not that serious about medicine, they don't have life experience, so that makes it quite hard for her to integrate. And likewise, I know someone else at another college doing another course, an access course, and she's the only person on the course. So I can't even imagine that's just crazy, because you need, basically, to get through this difficult process, you will need the support of other people. And in fact, where I'm sitting right now, I'm in the house of one of my friends who did the course last year. She's become my friend. We're friends. I'm in her house doing this. We've both got an interview tomorrow at Norwich at UEA. So I think, I think that just is a testament to the kind of experience that you will, that I'm sure you'll have if you join this course. You will be with like-minded people, and, I can almost guarantee you will have, you will have something in common with them, and you'll have a good experience in that regard. Another advantage I just wanted to point out, or another positive experience that I've had on this course, is actually being in Cambridge, at the University of Cambridge. So, even if things don't work out for me, if I don't pass the interviews, I know I will look back at this year and I will be happy, because it's just been such a cool experience that, I am glad that I've had, I've had the experience even for the sake of it, even if it doesn't lead to medical school in my case, for example. I also just wanted to point out a couple of things. I know it was mentioned earlier that this course is equivalent of 120 credits at level 4. So something really useful about that is you can apply, as I have done, to start in courses starting in year 2. So that's something as well to consider, that even if you get to the end and you realize, as some people have done, that medicine isn't for them, it's not been a waste. That is, you are still gaining a qualification which is very transferable to finish a degree in another subject, or even just by itself having a certificate of higher education. Maybe other courses, if you're considering, or for example, considering an access to medicine course that is quite specific to medicine, whereas it's much broader. Something else I wanted to point out as well is that for me, I guess if if I looked at the alternatives, perhaps doing A-levels, there was a lot of disadvantages there. It takes a longer time. It's not tailored toward medicine, you know, compared to this. So for example, tomorrow at my interview, I know I'm going to have a lot to speak about. I'm going to have an edge again, you know, I'm going to have one up against the candidates who are just going in with A-levels just because this has been purely medicine focused. Whereas, you know, in A-levels, you might learn things that are not relevant, like plant biology. And also you have to bear in mind that if you're doing A-levels and you do them online, not everywhere will accept A-levels that you do online. Whereas this, because this is perfect, it is, you know, some of it is done online, it is remote, but there is that in-person element. I've not, you know, I'm really happy with the places I've applied. And as I say, I've got interviews and hopefully I'll get another one as well. The other thing as well is just, I'm sure this will come up later, but just to touch on funding, is I was able to, this is obviously just speaking about my own experience, but I was able to get student finance and get loans for both the fees and for the living costs, and grants for childcare and for having a child. So those are things which made this course really doable. And I suppose at the end of the day, this is why this was the real option for me, because it is that hybrid format. It was doable. So I was still able to work part-time. I live in Leeds, which isn't very near to Cambridge. So I was, you know, but I can go to Cambridge once a month. Whereas if, you know, other ways you'd probably have to go all in person, and that's not what plausible for most people who come at medicine later in life. I also think as well, I don't have really any healthcare experience, and I studied science GCSEs a long time ago, but I would say it's very doable. Yes, it's hard, but you know, everything in life which is worth doing is hard. So yeah, overall, I'm very happy. And thank you so much for letting me share my experience.
Lovely. Thank you very much, Gemma. Thank you very much for telling us your story and why you joined this course. So next slide, we have our lovely colleague, Lucy, from the enrollment team, who will tell us more about the support available to you.
Oh, thanks, Vanessa. Hi, my name's Lucy and I'm part of the enrolment team here at the Institute of Continuing Education. So as part of the support that we can provide you, we can talk you through the suitability that you may have for the course, and we can also talk you through the requirements, any application questions that you might have, talk you through that application process. And then regarding what Gemma kind of just mentioned just then on funding, we can give you some further information about funding support and financial options that may be an option for you. So for example, for this specific course, we do have a bursary. So if you're in kind of the local area, you may be eligible for the pre-medical studies bursary. So that does have specific eligibility criteria. So if that's something you'd be interested in, we definitely recommend you contact us. We can also give you information on the SFE funding. So you may be able to get funding through Student Finance England. Again, just pop us an email. You can either use our QR code that you can see on the screen now, or our course form, or if it's easier, just send us an email using questions@ice.cam.ac.uk. And yeah, we look forward to hearing from you. Thanks very much.
Okay, that's lovely. Thank you very much, Lucy. So we are now at the questions and answers part of the presentation. We have been receiving a few questions in the chat, so I'm going to read those out loud, and then I'm going to ask my colleagues to help me answer some of them. So I have one question here. Where have current students managed to receive offers for medicine? I think that Gemma mentioned we have students that have had offers for Anglo-Ruskin University, UEA. We have had students who had offers for Cambridge, Bristol. Tatina, am I leaving something behind anywhere else that we can think of?
Yes, so basically a lot of students have had offers from last year, and also some of them this year as well. So you mentioned, Vanessa, very well the different universities. Yes, and we are still expecting many more students to take offers.
I know as well. I think last year someone got Southampton, someone on
Yes,
this cohort
yes,
as well.
that's right. Yeah,
yeah,
that's correct.
someone on this cohort as well has applied for graduate entry at Warwick and had an interview. So there are definitely different options.
Okay, thank you very much, Gemma and Tina. we have another question here that maybe Roberto will be able to help us. How many students are there in the cohort, Roberto?
Hi, everyone. So we currently have 18 students, and we have a similar number last year. I think it was a bit higher.
I think it was about 22 last year, or 23, yeah.
So essentially, we have quite large, but not too large cohorts. So you can basically interact and engage with everyone. And yeah, so it's going to be, yeah, the number.
Yeah. That's great, thank you. There's a maximum number in the cohort of 24 students. So, and as Tina mentioned earlier on, when the closing of applications is, but we will be interviewing on a ongoing basis from the 17th of March. So I will recommend that if you're thinking of applying, you don't leave it until the last minute, because we will be interviewing from week commencing 17th of March. So we have another question here. Is this more ideal for students taking a gap year before going to university for medicine? Tina, maybe that's one for you.
Yeah, so basically, as we said, so we've had students who are not very sure what medical school is like, so they want to have a taste of what will be their first year in medical school. However, it is like a full-time course. You are required to study very hard. While we mimic the medical school, that will give you, a taste of what you will be doing in the medical school. So I would say it's like a good way to add it, but most people that come in the course because they want to apply to medical school. And some of the mature students are working part-time, and because the program is flexible, they can manage both things. However, as I stressed before, it is a full-time course. It has a lot of things to learn. Gemma can confirm this. She had just had the exams. It's a full-time course. It requires you to commit. And especially because if you want to apply to medical school, you need to have a high grade in pre-medical studies. So you not only need to pass the course, but you need to get at least 70%.
That's great, thank you, Tina. And that actually ties up to another question we have had. Someone asked, how many hours a week will I have to dedicate to the course?
So, okay.
Yes, Tina, you go.
So basically, we advise different students have different set of skills. So there are students who might have some background in biology or chemistry, so they might require a little bit less time compared to others who don't have a lot of background. But generally speaking, because this is a full-time course, we do expect 40 hours of commitment per week.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much. We have another question here. Do we offer scholarships available for international aspirants outside of the UK? Well, this course is only available for UK nationals and those with indefinite leave to remain, I'm afraid. And that is to do with, because it's a course that's going to progress to medical school, and they have caps at various medical schools. So I'm afraid that there's no, we can only accept UK nationals and those with indefinite leave to remain. We have another question here. How many are accepted to Cambridge? We had a couple accepted to Cambridge last year that are currently studying at Cambridge at the moment. There's another question here. Is there going to be another cohort from September 2026? And when will applications open? If yes? Yes, we are hoping there will be another course the course will run again in 2026. We are not 100% sure yet. That will be decided later on in the year. If it does run, applications normally open in December. So if we have a cohort from September 2026, applications will open from December 2025. We have another question here where's this one here? Do I have to have experience working in the healthcare sector to apply? Is there any specific experience I should have that will benefit my application onto the course? Tina, one for you.
Yeah, so basically you don't necessarily have to have hospital experience or healthcare experience, but you need to show us that this is what you want to do. So for example, you might have caring experience, you might have cared for different people with different conditions, or you might have experiences working in different teams. So this is very important to have something related to show us that you have a passion, you have empathy, you want to study medicine. All of our applicants have got some degree of experience, and this is also very important for them to realize whether this is what they want. Because when you apply to medical school, one of the interview questions that you will have in the future as well is, tell me about your experiences. Why do you want to be a doctor? So by showing the experiences that you have, whether there are caring responsibilities, you might have cared for your parents, or you might have cared for different people, showing this caring responsibility, that you are an empathetic person, that you relate to other people, that you have good communication skills, is always something very positive to have.
I have someone else here who is 18 years of age and wondering whether this would be the right course for them. Well, this course is actually aimed at mature students, so the minimum age is 21 years of age. We will look at individual cases on a one-to-one basis if there's any reason why they want to join the course at a younger age. We will interview and see suitability, but the course is aimed at mature students 21 plus. Let's see if there's any more questions. That's all I have on the Q&A chat. Is there anything else in the chat that anyone can see? Let me know. I'm going to have a look here. No, I think the things on the chat are those from the marketing team. So I think unless anyone has any other questions or anything that they want to add to this session, we have one more. Who's going to be teaching? Who's going to be leading our lectures? Bettina.
So I'm going to be mainly leading the lectures for biology and overseeing the teaching team. So I work mainly with the students, but we also have other lecturers who will be teaching chemistry. We have invited speakers for pre-medical studies. We have other lectures for teaching anatomy and term 2 chemistry and so on. So there will be a group of people, but I'm going to be the main person who will be in touch and in contact with you.
That's lovely. Thank you very much. So that's everything on the questions. Let me just double check here. That's everything that we had. So then that means that we are coming to the end of our session today. Once again, remember that there's other sessions available to join this week at 6:30 p.m. And thank you very much for joining us this evening. We hope that you found this session informative. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to my colleagues and thank you to everyone. Goodbye.